Hey everyone, this is the Triple Play Fantasy Beyond the Analyst series. I am your host, Zach at FF Chalupa Batman. We are on our final episode for interviews, number 30, and today I'm joined by Kendall Valenzuela. How are you doing, Kendall?
Hey, good. How are you? Congrats. Last episode. I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm glad to have you on. Now, there will be potentially a special last episode, but it will not be an interview. So you are my last interview of the
Nice.
season until we get ready for the next off season.
Awesome.
Because we don't have time to talk about ourselves once we get in season.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yep. So if you guys missed the first 29 episodes, you need to change that. Make sure you go onto our Triple Play Fantasy YouTube if you're watching on there. Subscribe, like, check out the playlist, have fun. If you are on the podcast, go ahead and scroll through all those wonderful interviews that you missed and listen to them. But like I talked about, we are here to talk about Kendall, and I'm sure you have some wonderful takes, and you will share those on all the wonderful shows you're on. But here we want to get to know you. So you are the Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life Senior Analyst and Director of Social Media, which sounds awesome. And you are also now hosting the SiriusXM Fantasy Life show every Sunday evening. So that's really cool.
Yeah. No, it's been great. I've loved every minute. I'm pretty new with Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. I think I came on in July, I want to say, or maybe even June or May. Everything blends together. You get it, Zach. Everything blends together once it hits like June, July. Everything's just like what's going on. But it's been a really, really good time. I worked previously at Pro Football Focus, which was a great group, and then I was in Denver for 3 years before that. So this is just a great opportunity. I love everything fantasy football. I love everything football though. I think we all do. So to get a chance to just do it every day is so nice. And it's been fun. SiriusXM show on Sundays too with Peter Overzet. So we're just having a good time. We're just talking football and doing football things.
You can't not have a good time with Peter. So
right. I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The content farmer. He's fantastic. He's so good.
The literal content farmer. Yeah. So how did you start playing fantasy football?
So I grew up around sports my whole life, which I feel like all of us say that, we're into it. I played sports in high school, and all the way up until high school. And my dad was big into football. He was a football coach for high school in Seattle, Washington, which is where I grew up. So I would always remember coming home, even when I was little, during that one night, that one Sunday evening in September or like late August, where there'd be like so many random people at our house because my dad would always host the draft parties. He was always the commissioner. So I was just always around fantasy football. And it was fun to just be around it. And then, you get into football when you get older and you want to continue to play it and you want to beat all your friends. So I've been around it a lot. This is definitely my first with Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life. This is my first kind of big deep dive into thinking about who I'm drafting in May. That was a crazy change of pace, but it's been fun, and it's so fun to be around, and the people in the community are great. So it's been fun so far.
That's great. And do you have a preferred like league setting or scoring format?
I mean, I'm regular. I'm basic, right? I like the regular PPR. I'm into underdog. I think you and I were just in an underdog draft though recently. That's been fun. So it's been a good time. I like regular stuff though. I love playing in the 12 team leagues with my college friends. We're setting up other leagues recently. So I like regular stuff, but I am down to try anything, right? I love underdog and what they're doing over there and jumping into those random 45 minutes of like craziness where you're like, where is this person? And what does my life come to where I'm drafting Carson Wentz because he's the only one left. And I'm like, so it's good. I love it.
Yeah, those 30-second clocks get intense.
Oh my gosh. Especially when I forget to like star someone and I'm like, oh, he'll be there. And then I'm like, oh, good. He's gone. So my life is in shambles.
You mentioned this is your first time really thinking about players in May. So have you tried Dynasty yet, or have you not dabbled in that yet?
I'm getting close to dabbling. I want to take it one step at a time here. But I do all my research obviously, and Peter Overzet is great. Obviously, Matthew Berry's fantastic. Everyone at Fantasy Life is great. We actually launched not a new website, but we kind of redid our website. So if anyone wants to see it, it's fantasylife.com. But it really has been fun I love to learn, right? And I think that's why a lot of people love football. I love numbers as well. So it's been really exciting to not only get into fantasy football, but the strategy behind a lot of things, looking back at statistics and trying to find the next breakout, the next sleeper. It's just been a great time to figure all those things out. So I love learning. So I've been learning about all the best ball, all the dynasty, everything like that. But I'm trying to take it slow so I'm not overdoing it in my first couple months.
No, it's important to pace yourself. I just
Yeah.
got into fantasy myself last off season, so this is my
Perfect.
first
So
now
you get
full
it.
season. We're going to season 2, so yeah, I highly recommend trying it next year just to
Mhm.
give yourself something. Like you said, you like to try something new, and then you work with so many great people in the industry. I would get together a league of like fun, engaging managers because that's what makes the dynasty fun. Otherwise, it gets real stale and boring real quick. So
Perfect.
that's
Yeah,
my
I'm
recommendation.
excited. I'm excited to do that, right? I'm so excited because the first year, and you get it, you did it last season. So it's so much information coming at you all at once. And you and I, we know football, so coming into it wasn't overwhelming to say. But when you are deep into underdog and you're at draft, you're like pick 200, and you're sitting there like, God, who are some of these people? I should know some of these guys. It's an interesting take on what usually you used to do in fantasy football.
Absolutely, and then you gotta like, oh, I gotta correlate with week
Yeah,
17. What are they talking about? What like, yeah.
exactly.
But always fun. A lot of great information out there. So you
Mhm.
mentioned you were in Seattle. So I had to do a little research. I like to do a little bit. So I saw you were a ball girl for the Seattle
Oh,
Mariners.
yes. Yeah,
So
I
what was that
peaked.
like? Because that
That's when
sounds
I
really
peaked.
cool.
I'll tell you, that's what I tell everyone. I peaked in high school. Like no, I think I was even in grade school. I think, maybe. No, it was the best job ever, though. Besides this job, of course, and my previous like other jobs, it was one of the best, though. I'm from Seattle, just 15 minutes outside downtown and on the south end. And Seattle sports are my life. It's been a little bit difficult recently, but I absolutely love the Mariners. I love football to say the least, but I love football a lot. But the Mariners hold some kind of special place in my heart. I don't know if it's because I like sadness and pain, because that's all they've given me over my lifetime. But the ball girl job was so fun, right? I played softball growing up and in high school, and I saw this. I think they ran an ad right on my television on one of the TV commercial breaks during a Mariners game, and they were like looking for ball girl or something like apply to be a ball girl, and I said, I want to do that. And then of course I procrastinated for like 2 months, right? You had to, it was very formal too. You had to write a cover letter. They had to select you. And so I remember the night that the application was due, I was like, Mom, I have to do this. And she was, yeah. So we wrote this cover letter of why I think I could be one. And long story short, like they invited you in for an interview process. And during that time, you had to go they made you gear up, take your glove out there in the helmet and sit where you would be. So they made sure that you were actually capable of doing this. And that was before they had like the nets go up on the side because a lot of people are getting hit, right? So that was our job, was to try and make sure if you weren't paying attention that we saved your life, or at least try to make sure you didn't get pelted with a ball. So it was so fun though. So I got that job. They interviewed me. They loved that I was able to, had good hand-eye coordination too. And I had that job, I think, for 4 years. So I just got to sit and watch some games and get paid to watch baseball. And it was seriously one of the coolest jobs I'll probably ever have.
That sounds awesome. And I'm gonna have 2 follow-up questions for that. I think they're
Yeah.
obvious questions, but the first one, did you ever make any like highlight catches that could have been on SportsCenter?
I did. It wasn't on SportsCenter, but I do remember they replayed one a lot, and it was like I was on the third baseline, and it was one of those diving kind of grabs where I went towards the crowd because it was a line. It was coming in hot, and I don't know how I did it, but they really like to replay that one a couple times. So I will say I did have some highlight level reels that didn't make SportsCenter, but I think they could have if I sent it to them.
Perfect. And then I also have to ask, not to make you look bad or anything, but were there any
No.
bloopers where you might have
Oh,
accidentally touched a live ball by
oh
mistake?
my gosh, no, no, because if we did the thing that they always told us is like if anything's close, right? Just you had to pick up, we had these stools and you had to pick up the stool and you just had to jump over into the crowd because they would escort you out if you touch just like fans. Like it's they I think they still escort you out. So if there was anything close, I was just ducking. I was getting over it. I was not even going to come close to touching it because I loved that job too much to do the walk of shame out of the stadium and have to turn in my gear and everything.
Oh, that's gotta be the worst walk of shame.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Because I can't go up. Like they take you out. At least you can go walk up the stairs. I'm like walking past the visitors dugout or the Mariners dugout with my stool. Like they had to bring someone else out. That would have been tragic, tragic. I would never have it in my Twitter bio if that happened.
Well, I'm glad it was all highlights and no bloopers. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you aren't working on fantasy content, because I know you're doing that a lot,
Ugh.
what are you doing for fun?
Working on fantasy con no, I'm kidding. Like, this is our life. No, I really love to read. I'm an avid reader. Like I said, I like to, not necessarily for study, but I do like to read a lot. My family comes from we love to play cards, and I haven't been around my family as much. I moved back to the West Coast for the first time since I went to college. So it's been nice to be able to say, hey, I can go visit, my parents or my mom and dad and my brother. So I love to play cribbage. If anyone can play cribbage against me, I am someone that really enjoys a good game, which sounds super old too. I'm like, I love cribbage and cards and reading, but it is something I just love any type of game. Catan, cribbage, hearts, oh hell. Anytime I get a big group of people around, I try and play some type of board game.
Oh, that's great. Now with books, do you prefer like nonfiction or fiction?
Oh gosh, it depends. I usually don't do sports books, right? I'm like I have friends that'll send me some biographies and stuff, and I'm like, no, I can't. I got to get away from sports. I can't read about Tom Brady and his career. So I usually like to go for fiction. Is my usual. I'm pretty basic too, right? I'll just look at the New York Times bestseller or like the bestseller list for 2022 and I'll just pick like the top 3 books and say, okay, if this many people liked it, I should like it so that I don't have to think about it too much, right? I'm just like, okay, I'll do this one and try it out,
That's a good process. Like you said, I mean,
right?
odds
I
are it's
mean,
gonna be at least decent.
odds are it's going to be good. It hasn't steered me that wrong. Like I said, sometimes I will do sometimes some type of sports book or whatever, but usually I'm trying to get away from it for just like 20 minutes, Zach. I'm like, okay, let me take a break here. So I try and get out of it a little.
Perfect. Now, so it sounds like how long have you been in the fantasy football content space?
Oh man, fantasy football specifically, this is technically my first year doing it, right? But I've been on social media and doing social media content ever since really even college, right? That's one of the spaces that has kind of blown up in the last few years, and it's so exciting to see because I went to Arizona State, I went to the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, great school, Forks Up, and they made us really hone in on that. One person can have so many traits with them. So it was the multimedia journalist type thing, right? Where we would go out to a game, we would shoot a game, we would do a stand up after, and then we would come back and create this whole content package for our sports news segments on PBS. And so I think that really got me going, that and realizing that if you can be a Swiss Army knife, right? If you can have the ability to edit, to write, to shoot, to do all that kind of stuff, that you're more likely going to get, some jobs. Because back, when I graduated in 2018, that was really what people were looking for. So I worked for Fox Sports for a little bit in Arizona. Super fun. I was there when the Diamondbacks won that wild card game. I was there doing that and doing social for them. And then I went to Denver and covered the Denver Broncos for a sports radio station for 3 years. And that was fun. And that was me also getting into the digital space, right? That was me saying, hey, you guys are great on the air. Let's transfer it into your Instagram, into your Facebook, into your Twitter, and just do some other things. And then Pro Football Focus found me. I found them really and applied for a job there. And same thing, I was running their social media with the help of other people. And that was so fun. And then now fast forward, I'm here, and it's just a fun space to be in. I think it's fun because we can do this, right? People, no matter what their job is, that maybe their day job is different, but they can come on and they can podcast, they can talk sports, they can really make a name for themselves in the industry, in any sports industry, as long as they have the heart and passion and really just some kind of reliable camera to record. So it's been fun to see the evolution of what's been going on.
That's great. I only asked that because even though you're newer to the fantasy football space, you still have a ton of experience in
Yeah.
content creation. So it feels like there's a lot of new content creators or people thinking about starting in the fantasy space, especially since honestly, I think because of COVID, people have changed their priorities. They might be working from home. They might have some more time on their hands. Do you have any advice for those content creators that are maybe just now first starting out or maybe just want to give it a try?
Yeah, go. My advice is just go do it, and don't, don't think about others in the process in a nice way. Do what makes you happy, right? Because that's what to me translates on your videos. You can always tell someone who's really passionate about it and who really likes what they're doing, and someone that's just making content to make content, which is still fine if that's what you like to do. But I just say, if you're trying to get into it, consume as much as you can. And that sometimes just scroll through TikToks to get ideas. That's sometimes what I do when I'm trying to figure out new trends to do and things like that. But always consume, see what's going on around you, and just have fun with it is my advice. Because if you like it, and it's so cliche to say, but being able to work at Fantasy Life, and I'm sure for you, Zach, we're talking about football every day, and we're around football every day, so it doesn't feel like work ever, and it's just something that I absolutely love. So if someone wants to get into it, definitely just try really hard and do videos that you like and something that sticks with your brand, because you never also want to be in that situation of, I want to try this type of video, but it's not necessarily something that you like or something you want to do every day. So then you're stuck in this thing where it's like, oh, this has worked for me, but it's not really what I like. So I think that's a long-winded answer of just saying, consume as much as you can, reading, writing, anything that you can, and just be kind of true to yourself and know what you like and know what you want to put out there, and know that if it's a good product, that people are going to like it.
I love it. Perfect. Yeah. Passion
Yeah.
really does come
Right.
through your work
It's so
or lack of
underrated.
passion.
I know, it's so underrated sometimes. And that happens to me a lot. Not a lot. I hope not a lot, but in earlier stages, like I would be doing a video in college sometimes, and I would say, God, I really don't like this, whatever I'm covering. Or I'd say, man, I should have chosen something else to do this project on, because then you're out in the space where I would be covering maybe some kind of wrestling match, and I'm like, I'm not passionate about this, but it's a good story. But you could sometimes see in what you're putting out there that you weren't as passionate about it. So that's what I always tell people, is like, it doesn't matter how many views you get, because the views will come if you put your time and energy into it, and if you do have the time to just go for it.
Absolutely. So that was the last of
Yeah.
my, we'll call it serious questions, but in
Oh, I
true
love
triple
it.
play fashion, uh, I have to do some rapid fire questions if you're game.
Of course. Of course.
All right. So
Always.
it can be a one word answer or you can give a whole full context answer if you'd like to
Ooh,
get your point
okay.
across. All right.
All
So
right.
we'll start with I think this is an easy one, but it might be a little controversial.
Oh,
Which do you pour first, milk or cereal?
oh my God, is that controversial? I pour cereal first. And if I ever met anyone that poured milk first, we would have a serious sit down conversation of like, are you a sociopath? Respectfully. Respectfully, are you a sociopath? I hope that's not you, Zach. If it's you, I apologize. I'm cereal first though. What if what if there's too much milk, like the ratio? What if there's too much milk to cereal?
So it is not me, but you will have to
Thank God.
respectfully have a conversation with our buddy Cooter Doodle
Oh, I
because
know. Amanda, that's who it is. It
she,
confuses
yeah,
me.
she started this. It's got to be like a year and a half now. She made a video. It's hilarious, but it lit
Gosh.
Twitter on fire, and people came out of the woodwork saying like, "Oh yeah, milk first," and then a majority of people said cereal first. But
Okay.
it's been fun, so
I love
I just like to
Amanda
stir the
is
pot.
so funny. Amanda is so funny. I think she did a randomizer with Peter a couple weeks ago where she had to pour the milk first, and I was sitting there like, what is going? I thought I was someone that wasn't normal for not doing that. So I'm glad, Zach, that you are cereal first, because I hate, what if I have too much milk? I hate that. That's kind of annoying.
But that's why they did that, because she's known for
Of course.
milk pour first.
She's incredible.
So would you rather be able to hit a home run or dunk a basketball?
Ooh, hit a home run. I feel like hit a home run is cooler. No offense to anyone, but that's final answer. Hit a home run.
I feel like hit a home run is like more impressive. Like
I
it's
think so. Okay, I think so too. Because if I was taller than 5'3", I'm sure I would try it a couple times. But hitting a home run is just like, you have to have that hand-eye, like the accuracy. You have to have a lot more things than just being able to jump a little bit.
but I think there's more quantity to be able to dunk. Like you could just dunk anytime.
Yeah,
And I
that's
feel
true.
like
It's
there's
way
more opportunity to
cooler.
dunk. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
way
where it's
cooler.
tough. Yeah.
Oh man, that is tough. I still think hit a home run is, I just like that, because then you get to, like, the thing is, like, the celebration is longer, right? You get to trot around the bases. I could do a cool bat flip, right? I could make it my own, and I could get booed for my bat flip. I think that's way cooler.
No, I like it. But I am also vertically challenged, so I'd be happy to be able to dunk as well.
Exactly.
So is a hot dog a sandwich?
Ooh. Oh, Zach. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, only because, and here's the only reason, right? Because you eat a hot dog, like the buns are on the side with the hot dog in the middle. If we flipped it over, right, then it's sandwich-esque, right? I'm only thinking about the way we eat it, so it's this way and it's not this way. Is the only reason I'm saying no, or else I would kind of want to stir the pot and make it a little crazy and say yes, but I'm gonna say no. It is not a sandwich.
All right. I will say that that feels more 50-50
It does.
in the Twitter space.
I respect the people that do say it's a sandwich, because I get it, right? Where it's
Mhm.
two pieces of bread technically smushed together with something in the middle. I get it. That in essence is a sandwich.
I feel like you're talking yourself into it being a
I know,
sandwich.
now I'm like, this could be fun to say, yes, it's a sandwich. No, I'm gonna stick with no, just because of how we eat it, though. That's the only reason.
Fair enough. Would you rather be able to travel to the future or to the past?
Ooh, oh my gosh, probably the oh. Could I change anything, or am I just kind of hanging out watching what was going on?
I mean, we'll say there's no time rules because every movie
Okay.
gives us different rules. So
Yeah.
it's literally you're going to the future, you get to see what's going on, or maybe you get to go to the
Mm.
past where you didn't. Maybe it was before your time.
I think I'll go to the past. I think I'll go to the past. The future freaks me out in a good way, but I think it's too much information to come back with. So at least in the past, I'll say, okay, this is already, there's nothing I can do about this right now when I get back. So I'm going to say the past.
I respect that. Though you can make a lot of money going to the future, but
Right? That's true. That's true. But if I can't do anything with the information, I don't know. I don't
that's
know.
true. And then we create a time
Or I mess it
paradox.
up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or I mess it up and I'm like, oh, I could invent something new, and then I mess it up, or it just becomes like overwhelming, like the internet. And I'm like, dang, I created this crazy space. And then I have to live with that.
Yeah. The past is probably safer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take the safe bet there.
All right. Last one. If you had to watch the same movie only once a week, but for an entire year, what would it be?
I thought about this question very long and hard. I'm not gonna lie, and my favorite, and it was kind of an easy answer for me, because one of my favorite, at least top five, maybe not, maybe even top, my favorite movie, My Cousin Vinny, and I hope you've seen that. But that has to be my answer, because it makes me laugh every time. Two, I love reciting. I'm one of those people that will recite movies because I've seen so many over and over again, and same with my family. So when some of my friends would come over, they'd be like, "Can you tell your family to like stop doing the scene before the scene even starts?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I can't, because that's where I get it from." So I love My Cousin Vinny. That has to be my favorite answer.
Awesome. Now, would you get tired of it if you literally watched it 52 times in a year?
No, I mean, probably not. I mean, maybe at week, 25 through 34, it gets a little tiresome, where I would be doing other things while I'm watching it. But it is one of my favorite movies. So I do say I probably not however many times you have to, but I do probably watch that at least 20 times a year, at least.
Oh, so you're like almost halfway there. So
Yeah,
that was an
so
easy
it's kind
choice
of
for
like,
you.
okay, it's just on. It's hilarious. Have you watched it?
It's been a long time, but I have seen it.
Oh, Zach, go back and watch it, and
But
just
now I'm gonna
watch
have
Marissa
to.
Tomei. Exactly. Now just watch Marissa Tomei. I think she won an Oscar, Academy Award for it. Whatever. It's so fun. It makes me laugh every time. So, anyone watching, highly recommend if you want to laugh. It's a good movie.
I will add it to my rewatch list now.
Perfect.
So that was the last of my rapid fire questions. I think you came out of it pretty unscathed. I mean,
Yeah,
Cooter Doodle might
not
have some
bad.
words for you, but I think we're
Yeah.
good.
Don't send it to her. Don't send it to her. Amanda, if you're
Uh,
watching, I'm sorry. I know I respect you. I respect your cereal takes to an extent. It's still crazy.
I'm just gonna cut that one clip and just literally tag her in it.
Perfect. Perfect.
So, can you just remind everybody where they can find all of your great work and where they can
Yeah.
connect with you?
Yeah. So obviously doing social media with Fantasy Life. So MB for Matthew Berry, of course, the one and only MB Fantasy Life. That is on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook's getting up and running too. Peter and I have that show every Sunday from 5 to 7 Eastern. It's brand new. We just did our second one recently and coming up on our third and fourth and fifth. So it's been really exciting to be able to do that. So follow us there. My Twitter handle is right there, K Valenzuela 17. And yeah, just excited to get things going with Fantasy Life. Excited for Matthew Berry's new venture with NBC. That was a fun announcement that he made. So we're just excited. We're getting things revved up. Our new website is fantastic. If you need projections, we've got some betting tools on there. We've got obviously the newsletter that I have to tell everyone to subscribe to. It's free. Comes to your inbox each and every day. We're going to 7 days a week here soon once the season starts up. So it's a great read. It's a great morning read with your coffee. So MB Fantasy Life on all social media, and then fantasylife.com to subscribe to that newsletter. It's been fun. So we're excited to have everyone kind of watching us and utilizing our tools and our website and our newsletter and to hope you win your fantasy leagues this year.
It's fantastic, and thank you for coming
Yeah.
on, Kendall, and talking about yourself. It
Yeah.
was great to have you on as my final interview of season
Yes.
1 of the Beyond the Analyst series. Um, so if you guys are listening, like I said, this is the last episode of my interview series, but that does not mean we are going away. So Triple Play Fantasy will be putting out tons of content all season. I just won't be getting to know your favorite analysts during the season because we're all busy. So we'll be back for season 2 in the off season. But please make sure you subscribe, support the Triple Play Fantasy team. Like I said, we have a lot going on with football. Basketball's about to start up, so we're already talking about basketball content. We have college football content. We have baseball content. We're in the middle of that season. And we even talk about movies. Maybe my cousin Vinny will come up, and we even talk
Yes.
about food. So there's a ton of content. Make sure you guys are following, subscribing. Best way to support the team. And thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you guys in the next off season for these interviews. But you'll catch me on this channel and plenty of other videos coming up. So thanks again, Kendall.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach.
No problem. Have a great one, everyone out there.